Welcome to the rendering part. So for the render settings, I will not use too much settings setup. So I will let everything to the default. By starting by the render engine, I will select cycles and the device GPU. And for finer render, I will use the finer preset and decrease the max of samples to 1024. Don't use too much samples in your scene. If you don't need it, you don't use it. So for the denoise, I will use for the finer render open image denoise because it's very accurate than the optics. I use optics in the viewport rendering because it's very fast and use the GPU. For the lights, I will use light tree. Also, I will not check the advanced features because I don't need it. For the light path, after experimenting with the full global illumination and the default, I think that the default is very good for this scene. If you need more, you can choose this full global illumination settings. So for the clamping, I will let it to the default as I say already. And for the performance, I will use the faster render and check if the persistent data is enabled, because if you want to re-render your image, you will take time. So check the persistent data is enabled to not taking time to build BVH and so on. So for the color management, we talked about it already. We use AGX with the look punchy and the other values, exposure and the gamma. After hitting render, we need to check some passes to use it in the post-production process. We need to use denoising data, and we will not use glossy and direct and indirect, but who knows, maybe we will use it. But in the post-processing, we will use the ambient occlusion. So check make sure that you are checking the ambient occlusion, and we will talk about the cryptomat and the light groups in the bonus videos. So this is everything in this render settings. We can hit render and wait for our render to finish. So click render and render the image and wait for the render to finish. I already hit render, so you see that my image is rendered fast than the first time because I already enable the persistent data. This image will take 2 to 3 minutes, so I will pause the record and wait for the result to finish. See you in the post-processing part. Salam.